Aria Winters had always believed that silence was safer than attention. When she stepped out of the truck that dropped her at the edge of Ravenwood Wildlife Reserve, where her new school, Ravenwood Academy, was built unusually close to the marshes, she kept her head down and her books clutched tightly against her chest. Her pale grey hoodie hung loose around her small frame, and her soft brown eyes scanned everything with quiet alertness. She didn't talk much, didn't argue, didn't explain. She simply moved, calm and unnoticed, or so she hoped. But Ravenwood had a cruel habit. It noticed the weak, and what it noticed, it toyed with. From the very first moment Aria stepped into the hallway, the atmosphere shifted. Students parted in subtle ways, not in respect, but in the way people move aside before something unfortunate happens. They all knew something she didn't. This school had its predators, and they were already watching her. The biggest one, Logan Price, captain of the lacrosse team. 6'1", blonde hair that looked like it was styled by the wind, and eyes blue enough to fool you into believing he had a conscience. Next to him stood Jax Terrell, his best friend, devilishly smirking, and Brianna Locke, queen bee with a tongue sharp enough to cut bone. The moment Logan saw Aria walking alone, quiet, hugging her books, something in him lit up like a hunter who spotted prey. "New girl?" he said, almost amused. "Looks like a ghost. Think she even talks?" Jax laughed. Brianna flicked her hair and smirked. "Probably not. But she looks easy to break." Aria heard every word, but she didn't react. That was mistake number one. Silence, to predators, smelled like weakness. And to them, weakness was an invitation. Her first week was a slow descent into cruelty, shoulder bumps, stolen books, tripped footsteps, whispers behind lockers. Aria endured all of it with a strange calmness, refusing to break or complain. Students whispered that maybe she was too scared to speak. Maybe she was used to being bullied. Maybe she didn't know how to fight back. But none of them knew the truth. Aria was not scared. She was waiting. For what? Even she wasn't sure yet. But she always had that tiny flame inside her, quiet but burning, refusing to be extinguished. One afternoon, everything escalated. The day the school arranged a field biology trip to the reserve. The reserve was known for its swampy wetlands, deep mud, and worst of all, the crocodile-infested marsh that everyone at Ravenwood was terrified of. Even the teachers kept their distance. The students moved in groups like frightened children pretending to be brave, but the bullies saw opportunity where others saw danger. Aria walked alone as usual, jotting notes into her small notebook with her hood slightly covering her face. Logan nudged Jax. "Look at her, still walking like a scared little mouse." Brianna folded her arms. "Honestly, I'm bored. Let's make this trip interesting." Logan chuckled darkly. "What do you say we give her a closer look at the swamp?" The thought should have horrified them, but to a bully, fear was entertainment. The group slowly formed a loose circle around Aria as the class wandered deeper into the reserve. The teacher walked far ahead, distracted by another group that claimed they saw a rare bird. Aria sensed the shift in footsteps behind her. She knew she was being surrounded, but she didn't turn. She kept walking, silently counting inhales and exhales like she always did when preparing herself mentally. Her father had taught her that technique years ago, but she'd sworn never to use what he taught unless she had no choice. Brianna stepped in front of her, blocking her path. "Hey, ghost girl," she smiled sweetly. "Where you headed all alone?" Aria stopped but said nothing. Jax came behind her. Logan stepped close enough that she could smell his peppermint gum. "Did you ever see a crocodile up close?" he whispered. "They're actually fascinating." Aria finally lifted her eyes, calm, steady, silent, and that irritated Logan even more. Before she could react, Jax grabbed her backpack, yanked it backward, and the momentum sent her stumbling down the muddy slope. Brianna let out a laugh. Logan stepped forward and shoved her harder. Arya slid down the wet ground, mud splashing everywhere, her notebook flying from her hands. The world tilted. The ground disappeared beneath her feet, and then, splash! Cold swamp water swallowed her whole. The shocked gasps from above echoed faintly through the rush of water filling her ears. The swamp wasn't deep, but it was thick, suffocating, and the surface rippled violently as she tried to rise. Mud clung to her clothes, plants wrapped around her wrists, her heartbeat thudded loud in her chest. She forced herself up, coughing, pushing hair out of her eyes. Then she heard it, a deep, slow ripple, a growl-like rumble beneath the surface. The crocodiles were close, very close. Above her, Logan laughed. "Relax, they're slow, right?" Brianna shrieked with fake concern. "Oops, she slipped." Jax added, "Think she can swim? Or is the ghost girl gonna disappear for real?" Arya didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't beg. She simply stood there, chest deep in swamp water, staring up at them with a calmness so unsettling it made even Logan's grin falter for a second. Something in her eyes shifted, something cold, focused, awake.